for your Hockney project. So first I need to edit them all in Lightroom cohesively. So here are all my pictures. I will reset one of them. So I'm going to do my white balance. I'm not loving how it looks, so I'm gonna manually do it. Better. I am going to set my white point. Blacks. And then I'm gonna crop it to whatever size I want because I need pieces that fit together. So once I edit one, I'm gonna copy. I am not going to copy my cropping. Copy. And then I can click on the other ones and just paste it so they all look similar. So this one, the whites are not bright enough, so I'm gonna hand do it. But first step is I want to crop them all. I'm going to turn this one wrong way, photo. So I turned it, I'm going to crop it again to whatever size I want. I think the biggest mistake is not cropping them enough so you can see all of your photos. Again, you can crop whatever size you would like, but they all need to be similar. Then I'm going to export them. Command A to select all of them. I'm gonna export. I'm gonna name it Hockney 2 because I already have one folder. So I edited them all the same. This one's actually not bright enough. Exporting them. Now I'm going to make a new file in Photoshop. So new file. It is print 8.5 by 11. I'm gonna name it Hockney. 8.5, 11, make sure it's 300, make sure it's in inches, but you can use this default letter one. And I'm gonna hit create. So here is my blank canvas. I need to make sure I saved it. So if you did not, see how mine has a name, make sure you file, save as. Make sure you have named your file and you know where it is. I would put it on your desktop. Then I'm gonna turn off my snap function because that way I can put the pictures wherever I want them. So it is under View, Snap, Snap to. I want to turn this off. I don't want it to snap to the guides. So I turned off the snap. Now I'm going to place my pictures individually in. And then once I do, I'm going to resize them and move them around how I want. So I file, place embedded. I'm going to navigate to my folder. Start with this one at the top. And then I'm going to shrink it to a, ooh. So did you see it change sizes? So right now I can skew it and this is not what I want. So I'm going to hit no. I'm going to file, place embedded. I'm going to pick the picture again. And then I need to make sure this is locked. See this chain right here? So if no matter how I pull it, it's not going to skew the proportions. If you skew the proportions, you will lose points because your pictures will look bad. And then I can turn it. So I'm going to make it about that size. And then if I want it to be straight, I can put a 0 there. And then I'm going to hit the check mark or done. So I need to make sure I'm on my move tool if I want to move it. I don't like to see more transform controls, but say if you want to see the boxes, you can turn them on. The other way to change a picture is edit, transform, and then there is distort, so I can change the perspective of it. There is skew. which you can kind of shift left and right. There's a bunch of different transform controls. Perspective will kind of make like it's going off in the distance. So there's a bunch of different transform controls you can use to make your pictures fit how you want and just look more awesome. So I have to click on it. Edit, transform, whatever one I want. And then I can also flip it over here as well. So I need to keep going and add all of my pictures. I should be able to see all 10 in my image. So I have to use at least 10. So I'm scaling it down. I'm putting it where I want it. And then I have to hit done before I can do the next one. So make sure you don't distort the pictures. I have to accept it. I can scale it up and down, make sure my lock is checked. So I repeat those steps until I have all of my pictures. If I want to see a picture behind another one, so say I want to match these up perfectly, one, I could put it on top of it. I can also turn the opacity down an image if I want to see through it so that I can line them up more perfectly. If I need to make the canvas bigger, I can use the crop tool. So here's my crop tool. If I need to make it bigger, I can expand just like that if I need to make it bigger. Once I am done, make sure I hit the check mark. I can reorder my layers. I showed you how to transform. So let me open one that I was working on before. So this is one that I sort of finished, and I did this drop shadow thing. So let me go to this one. So what it is down here you go to FX and I go to blending options, and you want it to look like a real picture. So I prefer a drop shadow, and you can see it show up behind. So I can choose the blend mode. I can choose, we're not choosing those. Click on my drop shadow options. There we go. I can change how dark it is. I can change the angle of it, so where I want the drop shadow to go. I can change how far it goes, the distance, how far away, how big it is, like how soft it gets. There's a bunch of options. So you want it to look just like it has depth behind it is the idea. And I'm gonna hit OK. And then to make my other ones the same, I right click and I hit copy layer style. And then I can click on my other one, right click, paste layer style, so that all of my images have a consistent drop shadow. Then I need to make sure I change the color of my background. So to do this, I have two options. One is I'm going to find my eyedropper, and I'm not immediately seeing it, so I'm going to click over here and I'm going to click eyedropper tool. So there it is, and it's going to find it in my toolbar for me. Then I can click on the picture to pick a color from the picture, something preferably not white. Then I need my paint bucket. Paint bucket tool, and I'm on the background, and I'm going to click, and it's going to change the color for me. So I could do it that way. I could also go to adjustment layers, solid color, pick a color from my thing, and then hit OK, and it's gonna make another layer that's the background. So either one of those will work. So I added a drop shadow. I made it on all of my layers. I can also add adjustment layers to specific pictures. So let me file, place embedded, the one that I knew was a little too dark compared to the rest. So this one's done, but you see how it's not the right color? I'm going to go to adjustments, Or I can also click on here, brightness contrast. And here's my brightness thing. And right now it's affecting the whole picture. So I'm going to right click, create clipping mask. And now it is only being applied to that one picture. So if I have one picture that maybe I didn't edit right and it just doesn't look like the same as the other ones, clipping mask needs to be right above the picture, and then you right click, create clipping mask. And then I also need the layer style, so I'm going to copy the layer style, paste the layer style so it matches, and then obviously this one is not done. This one was closer to being done. I need to make sure I have the drop shadow on all of my pictures. I knew there was one missing, so I'm going to copy layer style, paste layer style, so they all have a drop shadow. I did change the color of the background, and can you see it's kind of off center? I'm going to crop it so that it is nice and centered and my composition is pretty. Notice that mine does not line up perfectly. It does not have to. That is kind of the point of Hockney, is that you can do kind of crazy creative things when you create a photo montage. Lastly, I need to make sure I save it. So I'm going to File, Save, and right now it's already a Hockney PSD, so I just save it. Then I'm going to File, Save as a copy, make sure it is a JPEG, and then I have a Hockney folder, so I'm going to put it in my Hockney folder and hit Save. I want it on high. And then lastly, I am going to Command-Shift-4 and take a screenshot, make sure I have the layer panel included. Happy editing!